and today we're going to talk about Double Bubble. And what is Double Bubble? Double Bubble is a comp that uses Winston and Zarya as a tank line, and usually Ana Brig is a support line, even though you can sub it out with a Mercy. And in terms of like the DPS, like there are a lot of options. Double Bubble like doesn't only employ like dive heroes a lot of the time. For example, like you see sometimes both Tracer and Sombra, which makes it a really like a brawly dive comp. But like you also see poke heroes such as Echo, Ashe, Kree, which will make it a bit more brawly than like generally. Um, as well as like longer range heroes like Hanzo and Widow, which are more common on maps with longer sight lines. And sometimes you even see like a multiple poke hero. So Ashe Echo is a really common combination because Echo can kind of follow up on like Winston's like engages at close range because of like her close range damage that she can provide with her sticky bombs. And like support picks, like Ana Brig is almost like a must have. Ana Mercy is okay if you're facing like a brawl comp, for example, or even like a poke comp where you don't need like your backline to be like that like a resilient to like close range damage, but or like flankers, but uh for like all other purposes, like Ana Brig is really powerful, and like Brig provides the rally, which is a really good ult. It's much better than Valk. So with that out of the way, let's go over when Double Bubble is like most like powerful. So okay, let me erase like these bottom heroes. So Double Bubble is most powerful when like you're on a map with a reasonable amount of high ground to use. Like for example, it's popular on Gibraltar, and like Anubis is like another map that is like decent for it because there are a lot of cheeky high grounds for you to use. But Double Bubble is good when there's like high grounds to use, which means that isn't that good on maps with not a lot of high ground, like Busan Sanctuary. In that case, you'd run Ball because Ball can stage without high ground better. But Double Bubble is particularly good like when you can like set up your engages like you can like slow down the tempo a bit. You can like try to have your Winston go in, farm energy for your Zarya, and like it's good on maps where you get to like choose when you want to engage. So an example of where this might not be the case is in like most control maps because in control maps, like when you go in the like when you first like contest the point, like you're going to like immediately enter the mid fight basically. Like there might be a period where like both teams are just poking at each other, but like the point's gonna unlock and you're gonna need to like fight for the point. So and like in any case, like control maps, like they generally have like smaller areas, when you go in, you're gonna basically enter the mid fight like really soon, like pretty soon after you enter like the point or like the area around the point. So for example, on like Busan City Center, like there's a mega room, but like you're both teams are probably gonna like go for that mega room pretty much immediately. They're not gonna like stall and wait for poke unless they're running a poke comp. Like if they're running something like Brawl, like they're not gonna let you just like stage set up for free. They're just gonna like rush either turtle inside the mega room or just rush your backline. So in those cases, like Winston Diva is better because Diva, like you can go in, you can disengage and then look to engage again really quickly. Meanwhile, on Zarya, like once Zarya's in the fight, she is committed into the fight. There's no guarantee that she's going to be able to escape once like she's committed. So like Double Bubble, you really need a map where you can like have your Zarya linger like outside the enemy like core. Have your Zarya bubble the Winston for energy. Have your Zarya like passively farm with right clicks, and then you look to enter the mid fight with engage. So Let's talk about how like Double Bubble wants to attack. So so Double Bubble, like, as I said, the Zarya is probably like one of the like it's the Zarya is like the most fragile part of this comp, because in exchange for like being able to dish out a lot of damage in long fights, Zarya has like no ability to disengage, and also is a bit weaker than like diva in terms of like, being rushed down. If they're running something like a brawl comp, then like you really have to be careful about your Zarya. If your Zarya is unprotected, or like your Zarya stands too close too early, then they can just run down your Zarya really easily, especially if she like mismanages her personal bubble. So like getting the rotation, like rotating your Zarya to safe position, is key in the comp. Or like if you're on defense, like keeping your Zarya like somewhere like shelved in the back for like early fight is like a good idea, unless like you have a win condition, which I will talk about later. But with Zarya, like you need to like not only like farm energy for her, you need to put her in a secure location where she can't just be run down without being punished, like without like you being able to punish the enemy for doing so. So when you first engage with Double Bubble, you're going to like move your backline up, and your Zarya's gonna stay like pretty close to your backline. That's where she can like receive the protection from the Brig to an extent. That's where like Ana can heal her really easily. And generally there's no reason for Zarya to stay to like position really split until like she has that high energy state. So you're gonna like on Anubis, like you're gonna like move in, and like you immediately face a problem. The moment you move into choke, they're not just gonna let you like linger in the choke for free. They're gonna like either spam out the choke or look to like engage on the choke. And like how do you prevent that from happening? Well, the benefit is that like with Zarya, like you can like bubble your monkey, and the monkey can basically go in alone and survive like even like coordinated focus fire for a limited time, especially when he has his own bubble. So like with the first engage, you're going to look to rotate your back line to a secure position during that engage. You're going to use that opportunity to rotate your back line somewhere that is safe, or like at least somewhere where you can't be like somewhere where you can buy a bit of time and make it hard for the enemy to like rush down the core or like spam out the core. And I interchange core and backline, but they're and like in early to mid fight, like the Zarya is gonna be part of the backline. So like I'll just call it a core from now on. But you're gonna like rotate the core somewhere safe. So like usually like the core wants to either rotate left side in this Anubis example, where like there's a mega and there's a choke to kind of hold, or like you rotate right side and look to go all the way to the stairs. So like you're gonna have your monkey go in and like draw some attention towards himself, and if they try to counter engage, like hopefully like your monkey will be able to like zone off the backline so that like your core can easily peel off the engage. So if there's like an enemy monkey, they're not running double shield in this example, then you can look to cut off like the backline with your own monkey, and then look to peel with your own core, which the Brig really helps in that. If you have like a Mercy, then it's gonna be harder. You're probably gonna have to like poke out the monkey like from a staging position before like moving in. So meanwhile that's happening, your monkey goes in. Now what do you want to do with your DPS? You want to put your DPS into like good angles. Like you want to have your DPS like move up to the flanks, try to move behind the enemy if possible, and while remaining secure, and like preferably within Brig LOS. But some DPS like Tracer don't really need like to be near Brig LOS or even Mercy LOS like all the time. Like Tracer can use health packs. So you're gonna move your core like let's say to the left. And what do you do like after like you like move your core like somewhere safe? Well, you're gonna have your monkey disengage, and you're just gonna like look to look to poke out the enemy with like your poke hero if you're running one. So like you're gonna like have your Echo like maybe do some poke with help of the Brig. She's not gonna want to peek that aggressively. She's just gonna want to, because like the monkey's not in, to like draw attention. So like your Ashe or Echo or like Kree will look to poke, do some range damage, like from like a safe position, not peeking too aggressively. Your Tracer's just gonna look to chill, maybe harass like isolated targets, but like otherwise look to chill. And you're just gonna wait like around 8 seconds. That's when Zarya's bubble, like after like it goes on cooldown. That's how long it lasts. And then like after your Zarya bubble comes back, you're either gonna look to like enter like the second phase of double bubble, which is like the actual like engage, like the hard engage. So like when the monkey goes in the lone, and maybe the Tracer follows up, maybe in like even your other DPS, well, your other DPS will be following up. Like everyone will look to like follow up if possible, or like unless they're like trying to rotate, but everyone will be looking to follow up on monkeys engages if possible, just in different ways. Like an Ashe or Echo will peek more aggressively, a Tracer will look to like go for a target like a Zen, but like every hero, like even this Ana, can look for a nade. And if Ana does look for a nade, then you can often just like enter like the second phase, which I'm going to talk about like immediately, which is like the hard engage. But every time that your monkey's going in and like the rest of the team isn't like fully committing, as I said, like if you like commit the Zarya, then the Zarya has to like be pretty sure that like she can finish the fight without like having to disengage. Like once your like the core is committed, like that's basically your one chance to win the fight, unless like you somehow have a lot of ultimates to like get out, or like to save your Zarya, or like you have like really good like cover to retreat to. So in this case, like you can like have monkey jump in and then like have your Zarya like peek out a bit and try to like finish off enemies. But if it doesn't work, you can like look to like go back to like the previous stage, which is like you're just staying outside of range and looking to poke. And like in this case, you would have like, and you would have you would just look to heal up your Zarya and try to like go in at a later time, for like wait for cooldowns to come back and wait for a later engage. So but anyways, like a soft engage is when you're just trying to like go in without committing your core. But a hard engage is when like you commit like your core in, and like you're basically gonna be brawling to the enemy. You're gonna have your like Winston cut off like the back line, and while the back line is cut off, you're gonna have like your core try to like follow up on Winston's cleave damage, or you're gonna have like your core and like your DPS like try to punish anyone who's split. So in this case, like for example, this Ashe can be healed by like Zen or even Bap, like unless like the monkey goes in and tries to zone them out, in which case this Ashe is under serious danger. Echo can look to sneak behind and punish this Ashe for like while like the Winston is zoning off their backline. So like when you're following up on a engage, like you don't necessarily have to like shoot the same thing your Winston is shooting. You can look to actually punish like enemies who are split apart from their supports. Like your Winston's gonna go in, zone off supports, and while that's happening, you're gonna look to like punish anyone who's like split apart from their team, and either force them back to their team into Winston's cleave damage, or you just kill them. That's even better. So let's go over like some important like decisions to make in double bubble, because like there are like, because like your core's like decision to commit is like probably the most important decision you have to make mid fight. So what are you looking for? Like what like triggers are you looking for when you're looking to like hard engage? Well, the problem like with like this is just that like it's really hard to like get it down like perfectly. And there are like a lot of decisions, like unlike Winston Diva, which I think is actually easier to play because Winston Diva can disengage, and usually you'd be running like a DPS that can either stay like in a secure position, or like DPS that have like escape abilities like Tracer or Sombra or even Echo to an extent. But like with like double bubble, like you really have to consider like like whether like it's safe for your core to just like commit to the fight. So the first like thing you have to like do is like make sure you clear all like important spaces and angles before you engage, because like let's say like the enemy decides to play really split, the enemy's like playing really risky, which would allow them to like take a lot of like attention away, and also like do a lot of damage to your backline, potentially get a cheeky kill if you don't clear it. So like for example, let's say the enemy decides to play split. Let's say the Sigma is here, the Echo is like playing here within Zen LOS, and like the Ashe is behind, and like the like the Orisa and BAP are like together. Well, like what you want to do is like, even though like you might be able to actually kill like targets that are isolated. That's what like dive heroes are really good at. Like you just want to like use like your monkey's engages to either directly clear the angle, so you might send your monkey like to clear an angle, even though that would be expensive. And like it's really important to do this, especially in this comp, because you don't have a D.Va to really contest any stray angles. You have a Zarya, but Zarya's worse at controlling angles, so you're gonna be mainly using your main tank, your monkey, and like if you have like a dive hero like a Tracer or Sombra, you're gonna send them to like clear those angles. And like you preferably have your monkey like focus not on clearing angles, but like you want your monkey to be focused on like engaging as many enemies as possible, cutting off like LOS, drawing like attention towards himself. So he's gonna like go in, draw attention, but meanwhile that's happening, like you're gonna have your Tracer like try to pressure out any enemies that are split apart, force them back to their team, and then like you're gonna look to use your Tracer, for example, or like you're gonna use like any heroes that are really that have like a lot of mobility or a lot of like good angle control to just control those angles. You just want to like take like the control of the flanks, take map control if possible, and you can't like you often can't like clear all the angles, but you just need to make it so that like when you push in, like you are at least aren't being like poked out by so many angles that like they can just try to punish. Like for example, if you had an Echo here and you just hard engage, then the Echo can just like look to poke from range, look to poke out the monkey from range, look to even get kills on the backline with the help of Zen, for example. And like you do really need to be careful. You do need to clear angles like before going in. So let's like talk about like the like win conditions of this comp. Like when do you want to like commit your backline? Because this is the most important decision in double bubble. If you fuck up with this decision, then tough luck. You cannot like fuck up with the decision to commit, because otherwise like your core is gonna die and you lose the fight. So what are you looking for when you're trying to know when to like engage? And the first like win condition I'd say would be like you have high Zarya energy and like you have your angles already set up. So like this is like a two-pronged win condition. Like you can't just have this high Zarya energy and look to like say, hey, we have everyone stacked together, we're just gonna look to press W, because they can just kite it back and then play to poke spam out your Zarya, which like would be dangerous because Zarya's not D.Va. Zarya can't like take spam without like personal bubble. So you want like a clean engage basically. You want to be able to say, hey, I've cleared my angle, so like I don't have like Echo like behind me, like behind my team. I've farmed a lot of energy for my Zarya, and my DPS are ready to follow up on like the engage. And then like once that's ready, you just like hard engage. You just like look to burn the enemy down with your Zarya's high energy. Like you're gonna get 1 kill or 2 kills with your Zarya. And like if they kite back into your DPS, who are ready to either punish the kiting, or like are set up on angles too, so that they can like try to poke out any like stragglers and like do a lot of damage and make space so you can like look to stabilize and set up another engage. So the first win condition would be like you have high Zarya energy and you're set up for the fight. And like if you're against like a comp that has like a lot of sustained cooldowns though, you want to make sure you also force out cooldowns as well. Like if you're going against Brawl, like Rhine Brawl, then like you want to like at least force out like a couple cooldowns, like you know, Lamp and Flashbang and Ice Block if they're running Mei, and maybe you want to like, if they're running Diva, you want to bait out a lot for DM, or if they're running Rhine, if you break the shield, then that's obviously like something I can go in on, because the Rhine can't block Zarya from like beaming anymore. So you want to force out like resources and cooldowns if like the comp is really good on like sustaining close range damage. But in the case of double shield, like you'll really only need to force out like 1 or 2 cooldowns before you can just like, you know, just go in with high energy and your angle set up and just slap them, because if you're like BAP has no immor, then who knows, like, and let's say you forced out like Fortify, then you can just like beam down Orisa really easily. Like the shield, her shield, you can just go through and then look to like kill her. So that would be the first win condition. Your Zarya has high energy, and you have your angle set up, and you cleared enough like map control so that like your engage isn't under danger when you go in, and also like you forced out a couple key cooldowns if they're really good at like, you know, sustaining themselves close range. Like Rhine Brawl and to a lesser extent Double Shield is good at that, but if you're going against something like, you know, Mercy Zen or even Brig Zen Sigma, like for example if you're going against a ball comp, then like as long as you diligently forced out the ball and tracer, or like you have like, you know, ultimates or cooldowns to sustain their engaged, and you just walk up to the like, you know, the backline and you just kill them. You don't even need like that high Zarya energy, you just kill them. So how about like other win conditions though, because like Double Bubble is known for having really powerful alts that can be used to not only win fights easily, but also to like be able to like move your backline up without like without having to like build up energy or set up angles as much. So what alts are you gonna be looking for? Well, one of the key alts would be Nano. And why Nano? Because the problem with like Double Bubble like is that like the problem with Winston in general is that Winston, like when he goes in, he creates a really strong distraction. He draws in a lot of like attention from the enemy, but he can only draw in that attention for a limited amount of time before his shield breaks. So like even though Winston's engages are really damn powerful, they're only powerful for like a really limited amount of time, like 3 or 4 seconds. And like the reason why hard engaging without having like, you know, high energy or like, you know, your angles is because like if they can like just stall, they can just kite back, and like eventually like they'll just like spam out your Winston, and then once your Winston is out, then goes your core. So having like Nano just solves that problem, not only because Nano allows your monkey to stay in for much longer, because you can like actually send in your monkey, pop bubbles, and then pop Nano mid-fight to like sustain him. And that's how you should be using Nano a lot of the time. Like you want to like Nano like as late as possible, as late as like safely possible, so that your monkey doesn't your monkey can get most value from it and can stay in for longer, for longest I mean. So like when you have like Nano Monkey, like not only will your monkey be able to stay in for longer, but your monkey will be able to jump in deeper and like get like all the way behind them, instead of having to like awkwardly try to, you know, jump up and stay near the ledge and then look to have to drop early, or like, you know, have to like, you know, jump all over the place just to stage and, you know, be able to engage without using leap. So Nano just allows your monkey to like int in and create another angle, and like this prevents them from kiting alone. And then you can take your time with like putting your core in the aggressive position. You can have your core just move up like, you know, even like take the stairs and then like look to brawl from there. And like when you have ultimates like this, you generally want to like try and look to engage as early as like possible. You're gonna want to clear angles first, but like once you clear those angles, you can like just send your monkey in, which will prevent the enemy from like executing their own win condition. And like you can also like stage like a bit more. You also have a lot more time to stage, so you can go in like more aggressively without having to sub like your angles first. But clearing those angles is still really important, because like if your monkey goes in, like even if he zones out 4 players, there will still be 2 players that can potentially just sit in your back line and just try to like look to poke out your core and clutch the fight. So you're gonna look for like the first key thing is a nano engage. Well, another like possible win condition is like you know, having a grav, obviously, because grav will allow you to, you know, throw the grav in, and then your monkey just goes in, gets a ton of cleave damage, and potentially can even look to primal after. And like this is the same with nano engage. Like if your monkey's close to primal, that's a signal for you to even go more aggressive, because your monkey will go in, take damage, get the nano, take even more damage, pop the primal, take even more damage, and like your core just gets unscathed while like your core is just like doing so much damage to the enemy like backline that like there's no way they can win the fight, even if they have like something defensive. So if you have nano or grav, then you also want to be like you know, trying to go in as early as possible. Of course you want to clear angles first, but you want to go in as early as possible, and you're looking to go in even more aggressively, like even more early if your monkey's close to primal or has primal. Like primal is generally like not a compelling like win condition of its own, but like primal combined with another ult can be like really good. For example, you have Echo. You can have Echo copy like their tank and like get both 2 tank ults, which can often like win the fight. Like for example, double primal was something Dallas Field used a lot, and like double primal, especially on like 2 CP defenses, where like getting 1 kill is enough to like win a fight. If you have like, you know, favorable respawns, especially, then even having DPS ults can be like an impetus for going in, especially with like ults like primal. You don't need like nano or graph necessarily to like win fights. They're like the most consistent way of winning fights, but like if you have, you know, primal plus like a DPS ult, for example, then you're basically going to win the fight if you have favorable respawns. That's if you have favorable respawns. Otherwise, like it might not be that consistent, because they can try like deny your DPS ult, and primal like is easier to, and primal like kind of exposes the monkey to like taking a lot of damage because of the large hitbox and stuff. And like yeah, so what else? What else have I forgotten? Well, I've also forgotten like rally, because rally can be like also an ult that will like allow you to like hard engage and enter like and like commit your core like early, because rally basically makes your core unkillable unless like your core takes a lot of burst damage. And in this case, like rally though, the problem is just that like your monkey like will receive rally armor if like he's next to a brig, but he's gonna look to like separate from the brig and look to engage. Obviously, he wants to engage, so like you do want to be able to like have your monkey go in cleanly without taking a lot of damage. So you do have to have angles set up. It's not like nano or graph where you can be lazy with the angles, but like once you've taken a bit of like map control, like once you cleared the angles, you set up some angles, have your monkey somewhere where you can just engage cleanly, then like, and like for example your core is like somewhere close so that they don't have to take a lot of time, then like you can have your monkey just, you know, go in, and then your core just hard engages regardless of the energy, because like once your core does arrive at the enemy, like as long as your monkey is not like forced out that early, so like Rally is kind of like not as much as a win condition as like Grav or Nano, but it's more of like a booster ult. It's more of an ult that like allows you to go in like aggressively once you are set up, like not before you're set up. But once you are set up, you can like look to go in with the rally and look to brawl. And once your core is able to commit and your monkey is in, then like your monkey will receive the rally armor and stay in the fight for longer. And also your DPS as well. Like Tracer at 250 HP is terrifying. So like the ult and double bubble can be categorized into two like categories. So let me use my blackboard. So the first category of ult is like alt style out, like key like ultimates, and like key ultimates are the ults that like allow you to basically bypass like the a lot of the staging of double bubble. Like you can just have your monkey going with nano, or if you grab, you set up a couple angles, and then like with grab, like it's not so much you can just int in, because like if you grab and your monkey is only able to contribute, then it's not going to be a strong engage. You do want to have your DPS set up, but in general, like when you have like either nano or grab, then like you can just int in and like set up angles later, like a bit later into the fight. Like you still do want to have like some positions to work with. Like you still might want to have a tracer like somewhere behind the enemy, but like your tracer like can't basically just stage really early while your core is still setting up a bit, and then like your tracer, assuming that they're not running something like ball tracer, which can poke out your tracer early, then you can just have your tracer like go on the flank and int in like pretty early. So key ults are like nano or grab, but I actually forgot something, and this is really important, but this is actually really common. And like the key ult that like you do, like you not only can int in with, but you want to int in with, is EMP. And why EMP? Because EMP is like basically the strongest ultimate in the game, and like with EMP, like EMP is such a powerful ultimate that like if you, even though you have no angle setup, like you still like preferably you still want to have angle set up. It's not like you can just like int in and successfully win fights all the time, but like even if you don't have angle set up, then EMP, like you can basically int in and use your movement cooldowns to just go head on into the enemy and send your Winston behind them, because EMP like disables all the means, like basically most of the means of just punishing your monkey for going in aggressively, punishing anyone in that for that matter for going in aggressively. So like even like for example your Ana can basically frontline if the enemy's EMP'd and look for a really aggressive nade. So EMP is like one of those like key ults that allow you to just go in aggressively. Like you still want to have like at least your Sombra set up behind, and that's like the most common setup. Like your Tracer might not be set up, but as long as you have your Sombra set up behind and the enemy doesn't have like Lucio or Zen hidden somewhere, then a Sombra behind plus your core just pushing up aggressively and synchronized together is basically a free win. So like, and like with EMP, like you should still clear angles if possible, of course, but and yeah, like clearing angles is important with EMP because like you want to force the enemy back to their team so that your Sombra can hit the maximum number of enemies. Like 1 or 2 player EMPs don't really do much. So like when you're setting up for an EMP, you're gonna send like maybe your Tracer, try to have her force back like players to her team, and who cares if the Tracer dies? Even if the Tracer dies, like as long as like she's corralling the enemies like together, then you can win the 5v6 with EMP easily. A 6-player EMP, even 4v6, can still be a win. So EMP is definitely a key ultimate. So what is like the second category of ultimates though? And I like to call these the booster ultimates. So booster ultimates are Primal, Rally, and like other DPS ults. So like not EMP. Because like with these booster ultimates, like Primal like can allow your monkey to stay in for longer, but it's not as powerful as a nano, which will have your monkey take less damage, and then like your heal is really efficient. That's why nano's better of a sustain ultimate than primal, because not only does nano like provide more pressure, but nano basically like doubles your Ana's healing for your monkey. So because of the damage reduction, not like HP increase. So primal's more of an ultimate where like once you do have your angles set up, once you do have your core close to the enemy backline, then you can just like go in aggressively. So primal is like a booster in that way. Rally, as I described, like if your monkey gets forced out too early, if you engage too early, then your monkey just gets like dinked a lot and like focused down, and your monkey's forced to come out, and the moment and like by the time you pop rally, your monkey's not able to get the armor, and going in without a monkey is still dangerous with primal. I mean with a rally, I mean, sorry for stuttering, but like rally is an ultimate that you use to like maybe engage a bit earlier once you do sub your angle. So that's why it's one of those booster ultimates. And DPS ults, like for example, copy it depends. Like for example, if you do like copy Ana, you have your Echo copy Ana, then like you can like have your Echo look for a nade and then get a nano really easily. But like in general, like DPS ults, they're not that compelling of a win condition a lot of times. So they might be below this category. They might be like a third rate ult, like booster ults are like a second rate ults that can allow you to engage a bit earlier. Like the key ults, like nano, grav, EMP. They're like tier 1 ults, like they're like first top tier ults that like allow you to just go in, like S tier ults that just like allow you to go in without like much setup. So so like DPS ults I might even put in their own tier, but it does depend. Like if your tracer hits a clutch like 3k, then it's obviously gonna win the fight, like a clutch 3k pulse bomb. But like in general, like you pop DPS ults like either once you're like fully committed, or like you pop it during like an engage. So like it's kind of like the same as a booster ult. You only pop it once you have the angles ready and once your monkey can look to like engage. So like DPS ults, they're kind of like third tier, but and they don't allow you to just go in early, but like they can like still be powerful in their own way if used properly. So like we went over like attack and like let me go over one more thing before I go over how to like execute this comp on defense. So like with double bubble on like attack, like sometimes like you might want to, it might be difficult for you to stage your monkey in a good position. So like your monkey will have to like stay like grouped in some cases. So on Anubis, it was really common for like monkey back in season 3, like for monkeys to just go in, have their core rotate all the way up here on Anubis. This is an Anubis specific example, but like you're gonna have your monkey just stay grouped for this rotation, and then once your core does like reach this high ground overlooking the point, that's when you look to like set up your angles, and then like you look to like send your tracer on point to force the point, or send your monkey on point to force point. But like sometimes like you will have to stay like stacked. For another example is like against a ball comp, if monkey splits, then like ball and tracer can look to like hard pressure the monkey with the Zen Discord. So like against a ball tracer comp, especially with the Zen, monkey is gonna look to stay closer to like his core, at least in LOS of his core. He's never gonna like escape his core LOS until like the actual mid fight happens, until like he's within like brawling range of like the enemy backline. So sometimes you do have to like stack your monkey closer, and in that case you're gonna have to like probably like against a ball comp, like you can just like try to like rapidly close the distance, have your monkey even just jump in, because a ball comp's backline isn't that scary. But against like a comp, but like in other cases, if you have to stay stacked like this, for example, map specific like Anubis, it was common back in season 3, then like you're gonna have your monkey soft engage more, and you're gonna have to fight like take more slowly, because like having your monkey stacked with your core does make the engages like soft engages a bit more awkward. So you're going to like take the fight slower and look to stabilize more before like committing to like a mid fight. So and like in season 4, like teams generally are more content with like you know, sending their monkey in and just farming nano. And this is another thing I haven't touched upon. Like sometimes like teams will just say fuck it, we're not gonna like look to like use soft engages to like send our backline to get our backline in the fight. Instead, we're just gonna like have our monkey take a lot of damage, and then we're just gonna farm nano. And this is like prevalent on points, like especially like on points where you can't really. It's really easy for your monkey to. It's really hard for your core to like stage, or like in on like types of maps where like for example, one example could be Lijiang Night Market. If they're running Brawl, then it's gonna be really hard, even with high energy, for the monkey to even get into point against a Brawl comp, especially if they're running like a bunch of sim turrets. So and if they have Mei, they can just cut off your monkey from their backline. But generally, like in that case, you just bite the bullet and you just have your monkey farm nano. And then once you farm nano, then you have a strong key ult that you can go in early and look for a really powerful mid fight. And then like you can try to take the fight from there once you do have a key ult. And like generally when you're close to ults, instead of like going for this painstaking process of like looking to stage, then like you basically just farm the ult. Like if you're 80% to grab, you just have your monkey go in maybe, and then your Zarya will farm, like your Zarya will look to right click, farm all, like get energy, get some initial energy, which is important, and then farm grab, and then you just go in with grab, or same with nano. And to a lesser extent with rally, like you might look to farm rally before going in. For example, if your backline's here, and like even if your Zarya has high energy, but like your Brig is 95% to ult, then you might just wait for your Brig to heal up a bit of damage before you commit. So like being able to look for those ultimates and being able to look for those ultimate win conditions is a skill that you can like hone in Double Bubble, and the best teams are able to like play for those win conditions really reliably, and they're able to cycle their ults. So how do you play Double Bubble on defense? And in this example, let's actually take a let's actually pretend like this is against like a Brawl comp now. So you're going to first set up your DPS on angles you want to like hold an area. But the problem with Double Bubble on like defense can be that like your Zarya's gonna not be able to contribute to the fight until like your team has built her energy. And like on defense, you don't have like the liberty of like being able to like choose when to fight. Like you get to choose where to fight, but you don't get to choose when to fight. So if the team's fast enough, the enemy team is fast enough, then they can just look to like run down your Zarya before your Zarya is at that high energy state and can look to hard commit. So like the first important thing is that you want to have your monkey engage pretty early, like soft engage. So like you're gonna have your monkey hold forward, and luckily like Zarya Bubble does protect your monkey against CC, so your monkey can't just get like chain stunned to death. So your monkey will be able to just go in, farm a bit of energy for Zarya, farm ultimates for his Ana, farm primal, and then just go out. And while that's happening, you want to have your DPS like kind of soft commit as well, so that they can at least force out cooldowns or even look to get kills if possible. But you're gonna look to like farm energy for your Zarya really early, and then like once you are forced out. Sorry, this is something that happened. What? This thing. But anyways, once you are at high energy, then like Okay, let me... So once you do have your Zarya at that high energy state, then you can like look to engage from there. And like once your monkey is like out of the fight, I mean, then you can then look to play slower and set up your angles again, and then like try to intercept the enemy from a different angle. And yeah, and then like you're gonna look to maybe kite back as well. And like you're just gonna repeat this until you have a compelling win condition. So double bubbles like really only like stellar on like double bubble defense. I mean, so the thing with double bubble defense is like it's really only stellar when you can choose like when to fight. Like when there's like when like there is like a bit of distance for the attacking team to cover before they can like just force point. So in the case of Anubis, double bubble like defense is really common because you can have your monkey farm energy here. You can have your monkey farm energy as they rotate. You can have your core like try to even. You can have your core look to rotate to like high ground if needed, and then like have your DPS like set up angles all around to like delay the engage. And by the moment they reach point, hopefully your Zarya does have high energy. But if you have ultimates though, you are going to look to have your monkey engage as early as possible. Have your team engage. I mean, like it's important. You want to have your team engage when they're hard committing, when your core is hard committing. But anyways, like when you do have like a nano, then you can just say, hey, fuck it, we're just gonna like nano or monkey in, and then we're just gonna like go in and we're just gonna like do so much damage to your backline, force a lot of cooldowns, and if we don't kill you, then like we're gonna weaken you so hard that like we can just finish you off with like our poke damage, or we can just have our monkey pop primal and try to finish you off, or we can look to farm ultimates, or we can look to fish for a nade. A lot of like possibilities once you do have ultimates, but when you do have those ultimates, like those key ultimates like Grav or Nano, then you can look to engage early. And if you have like a booster ultimate, then you still do want to like engage like early, but like you will like give the enemy a bit of space so that at least your Zarya can build up her energy. At least like your monkey can not have to like int end to engage. So yeah, like that's a really important part of double bubble. You want to look for like those ultimate win conditions, but like you have to consider like how much you will have to farm for your Zarya, how much space you'll need to give, like how like do you want your monkey to just int in, or do you want your monkey to like maybe like you kite back a bit before like, or you play for ultimates before like you go in and hard commit. So yeah, in summary, double bubble, you look to farm your Zarya energy early fight, look to rotate your core to a safe position also early fight with your monkey engage as cover, and eventually you're going to look for either high energy and setting up your angles and forcing out cooldowns to like engage, or you're going to look for like a key ultimate, or like if you're willing to like delay the fight a bit, you're going to look for like one of those booster ultimates as I described to like engage. And it's the same on attack and defense. So yeah, I hope that was helpful in covering the comp and like covering like any like clearing any misconceptions as well, and also like helping like your team recognize when it's okay to like commit your core, because as I said, the decision to commit your core is something that is really hard, and it will require like your team to like VOD review and like have a good communication structure so that your monkey does not get confused during the engage. Oh shit, I highlighted the wrong core. Like I mean, the core as in backline plus Zarya. So yeah, I hope